Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report. Now we're going to go back a few days. Royals lost again to 2-0 to drop their record to 6-19. But I want to go back to when they were 5-18 because I'm not quite sure of all their stats of 6-19. Not that it really matters. But the Royals 5-18 depression started. Here there are 26 teams that have started 5-18 in almost 55 seasons. Not quite. 650 teams, of the 26 of those teams, have started 5-18. The Kansas City Royals are 5 of those teams in 20 years. There have been 13 teams in 20 years. 4% of the teams have been the Kansas City Royals, and twice in the last 4 seasons have been the Kansas City Royals. Come on, it's time to unload almost all of your players and move on to next season. It's time to tank. Gosh dang it. We're going to go over the top 10 picks, and then we'll go over the top. Panthers, number 1, Bryce Young. Number 2, Texans, Will Anderson will either get the hell out of the second pick, move to 5, pick Jalen Carter, or take a quarterback. I think Jalen, if you want defense, he's the best defensive player at the draft, and he's not slated to go 5. Now, if you trade out, maybe you won't get him. Or why aren't you drafting C.J. Stroud? Texans fans are going to be pissed. 3-11, Titans taking C.J. Stroud. I have the Titans drafting Anthony Richard at 11. I guess they just stay the same spot. Maybe they move up past the Cardinals. At 4, the Colts, Will Levis. I have always liked him in the SEC. I've always thought he was a good quarterback. I always have thought he has a lot of potential. In some ways, I think more than Anthony Richardson. But Anthony Richardson seems like the most for experts. Seahawks, Jalen Carter. You have no argument for me here. The only thing is questioning is number 6, Devin Witherspoon, cornerback. Number 7, Raiders, Oregon, cornerback Christian Gonzalez. Falcons, number 8, edge Tyree Wilson. Bears, Ohio State, offensive tackle Paris Johnson at number 9. Since the Bears are a lot of listeners, I'll give you some thoughts here. If they're not going to draft a quarterback, a good guy to have to protect Justin Fields is not a bad pick. And that might be a great pick for the Bears as a tackle. So good pick. Eagles, Texans running back Bijan Robinson. I have heard everything I need to know about him. He should be a first-round pick, but maybe some should think about what it takes to draft a running back in the first round and why many teams don't do that. I'll give you an example. Chiefs drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I know it was with the 32nd pick, but he did not work out well. He's always hurt, never able to go back on the field. And now for 4 seasons, the Chiefs are questioning whether he'll be on the Chiefs next year. So maybe the same thing happens with Bijan Robinson. Kansas City will have the largest stage and biggest scene in history, a size of a football field, and fans access World One Museum Theater. Now back to Mel Kiper. Let's reveal Mel Kiper's top 25 prospects. Let's go through those players in the NFL, and I'll talk more about them if I need to. Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, Georgia. Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama. Will Anderson, linebacker, Alabama. Will Levis, quarterback. C.J. Stroud, Ohio State. Bijan Robinson, 6 running back. 7, Anthony Richardson, Florida. 8th prospect, Devin Witherspoon, quarterback, Illinois. Christian Gonzalez, cornerback. Peter Savaz's guard, tight end, offensive tackle. Paris Johnson, 11. Nolan Smith, 12. Zay Flowers, wide receiver, Boston College. If he drops to the Chiefs, the quick and speed and fat that Patrick Mahomes says he's good, somebody we can use right now. Here's Travis Kelce.
Must feel good to kiss that Lombardi trophy once again. Travis Kelce, Super Bowl champion, joining us here on NFL Live. We're so glad to have you, Travis. You're joining us on behalf of Kelce Jam. So I want to start there. Do we dare ask what that is?
Kelce Jam, baby. We're finally bringing the party to Kansas City. We've been fighting for our right to for quite a while now, and what better way to bring some fun and a music fest and a food fest to Kansas City than draft weekend. It's going to be electric. I can't wait to see the city and it's all in all its light, and then we're gonna have some fun for everybody coming into the draft and for the Kansas City Chiefs that just celebrated that Super Bowl with us.
I honestly, Flowers working out with Patrick Mahomes. You know a thing or two about catching.
Yeah, no, I can tell you just by watching him, he can help us out right now.
Ooh,
he is a unbelievable route runner, and you can really see his athleticism and his love for the game, and just how he runs routes. It was fun to see, man. He's a great guy too.
Just what you guys need, more playmakers on offense.
You said the Chicago Bears. Mike Ditka is the Hall of Fame coach for the Chicago Bears, man. One of my favorite guys ever, man. The best tight end.
Jackson Smith Najiba, 14th prospect. 15th, Broderick Jones, offensive tackle, Georgia. Tyree Wilson, defensive end, Texas Tech. Emilia Forbes, cornerback, Mississippi State. Jamar Gibbs, Alabama. Refer to same thing I said about Vaja Robinson. And secondly, I would not take him in the first round. Tight end, Utah. If he's everything they say he's supposed to be, good. I wouldn't actually mind him having his Chiefs run a 2 tight end set, and then they're set for after Travis Kelce's career. Everyone retires. Tom Brady finally retired. Devontae Banks, cornerback, Maryland. Jordan Addison, wide receiver, USC. Jordy Porter, cornerback, Penn State. Will McDonald, linebacker, which some people stated to the Chiefs. In my opinion, the Chiefs don't need a linebacker, so don't pick them. Darnell White, offensive tackle, would like to see the Chiefs draft him if he's available. Miles Murphy, defensive end, Clemson. Wouldn't mind seeing the Chiefs draft him. There's your top 25 prospects by Mel Kiper. Local appeals turn out, and then we'll turn over a video. DeAndre Hopkins could be something that the Chiefs would add in the draft tonight. And if he's going to shore up his attitude and make sure his attitude's all good, then I'm good with it. Will Lutz was compared to Jay Cutler as a quarterback, and the Bears could draft him. I say again, why did you move up or down, whichever you want to consider it, draft a quarterback when you could have had them at the first pick? Cutler played 4 seasons at Vanderbilt before being the 11th pick in the NFL draft by the Denver Broncos. After 4 seasons in Denver, he was traded to the Chicago Bears, where he would spend the majority of his NFL career. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report.
Latest you're hearing right now. Well, let's look at the quarterbacks. I mean, C.J. Stroud from Ohio State was a guy that at some point during this process people thought could go number 1. It looks like Bryce Young will be the guy at number 1. And it looks like Houston is not looking at C.J. Stroud at number 2. Houston could take a defensive end, and if they do take a quarterback, my bet would be it would be Will Levis from Kentucky. So Stroud, where does he fall? Does someone trade up to 3 with Arizona to get him? Could he be Indianapolis's guy at 4? Could he fall toward Tennessee, which is picking at 11, may trade back up into the top 10 to get somebody? We'll keep an eye on that. Anthony Richardson from Florida, very interesting high ceiling prospect. There are people that would tell you that he is the guy the Colts are looking at number 4. If he's not, let's say they go with Stroud or Levis if he's still there. Don't rule out the possibility of Seattle at 5 taking a look at Richardson. They have Geno Smith in place to start, and they could keep Richardson on the bench, let him develop behind that guy. And I mentioned Will Levis as a possibility for Houston at number 2. I don't think anybody really knows, other than Houston, what they're going to do at 2. But Levis has had fans in that building throughout this process. He's a guy that they like in terms of his upside and his potential. And if they do decide to take a quarterback at 2, I would keep my eye on Levis as the guy they would choose. If not, maybe he drops a little bit. They're picking 12. They could come up and get him. There's a million. Kevin, there's so many things that can.
That's what I love about this chaos, specifically at number 2. Todd McShay and Mel Kiper Jr. releasing their final mock drafts this morning with some late changes from Mel here. Let's take a closer look at the quarterbacks. Both have Bryce Young going first overall to Carolina. The Titans trading up to take C.J. Stroud at number 3. Will Levis going number 4 overall to the Colts. Todd has Anthony Richardson going number 5 to Seattle. Mel has the Texans. That's one change, taking him at number 12. Mel also has a 5th quarterback, and that is Hendon Hooker at pick 31, getting that 5th year, which is a big deal, especially with Hooker basically taking a red shirt with that injury to his leg. Graz, let's go back to 2, because it feels like Houston controls the chaos that we're going to see tonight on ESPN.
And think about this. If Houston had just lost the Week 18 game, they were losing with a minute to go. Instead, they were down 7. They scored a touchdown, go for 2. Now they're picking second. They could have had Bryce Young, but they're not. It doesn't look like they're going to get him. So are they going to take a quarterback at 2? This is the big mystery. If not, is it going to be Tyree Wilson, Will Anderson, a defensive guy, and then they look to maybe get quarterback with one of those later picks? What I've been told is don't rule out the possibility of defense and don't rule out the possibility of Levis. They have talked about trading back from the pick, but it doesn't seem like that's likely. The most likely team that wants to come up is Tennessee at 11. That's a division rival.
Yep.
Those deals can be tough to execute. So I would bet on Houston staying put at 2 and taking somebody, either Levis or one of those defenses.
Tim, what's wild here, it felt like C.J. Stroud was the number 1 guy for the Panthers.
I think they should draft a quarterback. Their quarterback's not on their roster right now. Like we know that. I mean, there's no shot that they're going in again with DeMeco Ryans taking over and saying like the future is Davis Mills. Look, maybe they say we don't want one of these quarterbacks and we'll push it out a year. Maybe they're doing that. But I think they need a quarterback. I think C.J. Stroud is a quarterback they should take. And I'll be really surprised if they don't. Back to watching these guys and realize how good C.J. Stroud was at playing football when we watched him the last 2 seasons.
That's important? Like if you're good at football, you should be a high pick?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Do you think people outthink themselves at all this time of year?
Or maybe talk through it.
If the Houston Texans could just do one thing right, which was just lose in the correct manner, now they'd be at number 1, and we know that they take Bryce Young. When you watch the film from the last 2 years, it was clear to me that Bryce Young was the best quarterback in the country and that C.J. Stroud was the guy that was nipping at his heels. But when you start to get into this process and you're talking about testing and who's missing this camp and who's doing what type of thing, and oh my God, the Mannings love this quarterback, that's when you start getting all of this guy's going second, this guy's going third. But Tim is exactly right. Let's think about what the film says. Let's talk about who C.J. Stroud was against the Georgia Bulldogs, one of the best defenses in the entire country, when he used his legs, when he was the most dominant player on the entire football field. For 2 years, when we saw him on every level be able to place the football more accurately than any other quarterback in the country. I believe C.J. Stroud is the guy that should go second overall, but it's about what the Houston Texans want and what DeMeco Ryans sees as his vision for his team. We have to remember, even though Davis Mills doesn't seem to be the franchise quarterback, DeMeco Ryans has been in a place in San Francisco where you've won with average quarterback play. So maybe the conversation is push it out one more year and let's do our best to build a team that can win with any good quarterback competent play.
And it's important people remember, it's not may not be push it out one more year. It may be push it back 10 picks because they're picking again at 12.
Yes.
And there may be somebody available to them there that they feel better about taking at that spot.